What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, daily news, everything you need to know about in our country here in Washington, D.C., the economy, money, investing, the stock market, everything you need to know about on a daily basis here on our YouTube channel. Remember that new videos come out here on our YouTube channel at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. We got a lot to talk about. They finally passed it here yesterday, the debt limit. Check this out.
Pursuant to Section 11B of House Resolution 188, the House stands adjourned until 11 a.m. on Thursday, December 16, 2021.
So yeah, the U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate have now passed the debt limit or the debt ceiling here. In fact, the House of Representatives actually passed it after midnight. So actually this morning here on December 15th, which is actually the official date that Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, said could be the first date of default. Now, I think we're going to be fine with this, so I don't think there's need to worry. So everybody don't worry about it. They're sending it down to the president's desk, President Biden, so he will sign it here as soon as possible, I assume here. But the House of Representatives and the Senate have now passed it. You can see here the Senate passed the debt limit in a vote 50-49 with the final vote. All Democrats voting yes. All 49 Republicans voting no. So there was one Republican that did not vote. So it did pass with a simple majority. Remember that the previous vote, we had Republicans vote yes to pass we had a couple votes there. First, we had 64 Republicans vote to pass it initially. So the last vote in the Senate passed 50-49 with all the Democrats voting yes and all the Republicans voting no. The House followed early Wednesday, passing it in the House with 221 yeses and 209 noes. Only one Republican representative voted yes, joining all the Democrats. So the debt limit has officially been passed in the House and Senate and goes to the president now here on December 15th, which is actually the date that Janet Yellen said could cause the default. You can see here, once signed by Biden, the resolution would increase the debt ceiling by $2.5 trillion. On Tuesday, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the measure will raise the borrowing limit to a level commensurate with funding necessary to get into 2023. I have not seen an exact date here on everything I've read. I believe it basically is a just a number here, $2.5 trillion. Janet Yellen estimated the U.S. would run out of ways to pay its debt on December 15th, which is today. Talk about last minute, or past last minute even. If Congress does not raise the debt ceiling before the Treasury misses a payment, the country would default for the first time. The Treasury Secretary said she expects the U.S. would slip into a recession if Washington failed to miss its debt payments. So a couple different things here. What it looks like here is they're going to raise the debt limit by $2.5 trillion. Now, what they did last time when they raised the debt back in October is they raised it and by a certain amount, and it was just a number here. It didn't have an exact date, and it basically got us to where we are today. And they're doing that again. So they're from what it looks like here, this is all kind of fresh here, is they're raising it by $2.5 trillion, a nice round number. And at some point in 2023, unless they spend more than they're supposed to and it goes quicker, and we hit it sometime in 2022, but preferably sometime estimated in 2023, we will hit the debt limit. We don't know the exact date at this point, but estimated sometime in 2023, we will get to that $2.5 trillion more than where we are today. That is when they will have to raise the debt limit again, or the debt ceiling, whatever you prefer to call it. It's the same thing, just has basically two different names. And then they will have to do this whole process all over again and raise it again the day of. Can't make this stuff up. Literally wait until the day of, or in this case, past the date. They needed to raise it before December 15th. What do they do? They wait till after the stroke of midnight on December 15th. And the president has to sign it. Yeah. Congress, right? Congress. Now, if you've heard me say this before, I've said this before. I think one of these times they're going to mess around and let the country default. I don't think I don't now. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this is going to lead to a default. I don't think they're going to miss any payments because of this. So don't anybody panic or anything like that. But remember, we've had government shutdowns. Defaults and shutdowns are two different things. A lot of people get that confused. Government shutdown. Remember, they just passed a government shutdown bill like what was that, about a week or two ago now at this point. They've extended that only until February 18th, I believe, if I'm recalling that correctly. They have to do that again, a government shutdown to keep the government funded. Remember, that's different from the debt limit, okay? We've had government shutdowns before. Remember, they passed the last government shutdown bill with less than 24 hours as well. And Congress, we had a government shutdown, I believe it was in 2018 and 2019, okay? One of these days, they're going to mess around and have a default. And we can't have a default because it's going to literally lead to an economic collapse. People's pensions, people's 401ks, people's social security payments, people's child tax credit payments, bond interest payments, the full faith and credit of the United States are all at risk if we have a U.S. economic default. Just think about U.S. default, United States default. It's basically like saying the government's bankrupt. I'm telling you, if this continues here, we're going to see that happen one of these days here. If this continues to go on for the next 20 years, one of these times they're going to mess around and that's going to happen. Mark my words on that. If we're all here around here for the next 20 or 50 years, one of these times they're going to mess around, that's going to happen. I'm telling you, you remember my words here. That's going to happen one of these days. They need to get rid of that debt limit and just get rid of it completely because they don't need it. Remember, all this spending has to be approved by Congress anyways. So it's like a double, triple standard that really doesn't need to be there. Or they need to pass it off to somebody like the Treasury Secretary or something along there because Republicans and Democrats use it as a tool to like get back at each other. And we had actually Republican Senator Lindsey Graham actually admit it in his interview the other day. He says, normally we get something in return. Or even Democrats, he said, and both parties do this, right? And it shouldn't be used. They shouldn't be using the country as a cat and mouse game to get something for the other party. They use it as a negotiating tool. Now, in all fairness, Mitch McConnell didn't do that this time around, and I actually applaud him for that this time around. He didn't ask for anything in return. I think that's pretty cool of Mitch McConnell, but it's just the country should not be doing this. We should not be negotiating and preventing the country from defaulting with like hours left to go. Same thing with government shutdowns. There's something they got to change this system, right? It's something's got to change. The House of Representatives actually passed two other bills last night before they passed the debt limit in the House, which just goes to show you that they weren't going to change their schedule. And in my opinion, that's a mistake. They should have passed the debt limit first and then passed these other things and rushed that off to President Biden. I mean, It's a very serious thing here, letting the country default or potentially, right? Um, the one of the things they passed here is actually a kind of serious matter here. You can see the House voted to hold defiant Mark Meadows in criminal contempt. This is the former White House chief of staff underneath former President Donald Trump. Yeah, you can see here House of Representative lawmakers voted last night to hold the former White House chief of staff Mark Meadows in contempt of Congress as the special committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol released a second batch of messages from allies begging Mark Meadows to try to convince then President Trump to stop the insurrection on the Capitol. The vote was 222 to 208, with two Republicans, including Representative Liz Cheney from Wyoming and Adam Kinzinger from Illinois, crossing the aisle to join the Democrats to support the measure. The House's action refers to Mark Meadows to the Justice Department on criminal contempt charges for refusing to testify before the Select Committee probing the January 6th attack. Mark Meadows did provide thousands of pages of documents to the investigators, but then he refused the panel's request under subpoena to talk about them. It was that prompted the contempt vote, and that is what made them prompt this action. Democratic Representative Pete Aguilera from California said, quote, "It's a two-part test in order to show compliance with our work. One is the production of documents, which he did do. The second is sitting for a deposition or interview. Mark Meadows fulfilled one, but he did not fulfill the other." House Democrats also passed a bill to combat Islamophobia to support Ilhan Omar last night. There is also a lot of press going on about the Social Security 2100 Act to raise Social Security benefits and to make Social Security more solvent and to make benefits last longer. You can see here from this article published yesterday by Fox News. Lawmakers consider Social Security 2100 Act aimed at protecting future benefits. The bill would increase benefits and eligibility while raising taxes on the wealthy here. This is the bill that would increase benefits to $1,341 as a minimum payout benefit for Social Security benefits, which is 125% of the poverty line. $1,341. I have several different videos on this. I will link you to a video here on this at the end of this video, and would increase the solvency of the Social Security 2100 Act to make it last until 2038 so that it would not run out of money as soon, and basically change the trajectory on it by raising taxes on the wealthy. People that make over $400,000 would pay into the Social Security fund with Social Security payroll taxes again. And you can see here multiple different news outlets. This is making a lot of headwind and a lot of news popularity here. This is why Congress needs to act on Social Security right now. Social Security is the #1 anti-poverty program for seniors, children, and veterans, says Social Security 2100 Act sponsor Representative John Larson. I think we're going to see a lot of movement on that here in the new year 2022 here. So I will keep you posted here. But this would be a huge benefit for tens of millions of Americans on Social Security. Number one, to raise Social Security benefits. Number two, to increase the cost of living adjustments, COLA, year to year basis, and to change the index it's on from the CPI to the CPIE, Consumer Price Index for the elderly, which would raise it. So, for example, it's hard to really tell what it would be, but it would basically probably increase the cost of living adjustment on a yearly basis to a slightly higher increase every single year. More is more, right? more is better. It would increase the benefits to a different index, a CPIE, Consumer Price Index for the elderly, and it would increase the solvency. Um, a lot of people predict that Social Security could run out of benefits here in the next 10 years or so. This proposal would push that out to 2038, which is 17 years from now, make it more solvent and increase the trajectory. So I will keep you up to date here on this, making a lot of headwind here. And this bill has been reintroduced here lately. The last time it was, before it was reintroduced, it had 200 co sponsors, which is basically 200 votes here. So John Larson has actually just called here in the last few days to have it voted on immediately. So it's been making a lot of progress. On the stimulus package, the BBB, which is not the Better Business Bureau, but the Build Back Better package or Build Back Better plan. But Biden and Manchin deadlocked on the length of the programs. And that is kind of the big issue of the day, or big issue of the week here right now, is the how long these programs are going to last. And that's kind of the topic right now of discussion. You can see here the president told the senator during a phone call Monday he didn't want to budge from his plan to fund some of his programs for 1 year and others for 10 years. So the president's holding the line firm with Senator Joe Manchin. But Manchin was equally clear before negotiating which individual programs should survive. He wants to agree to a common denominator for the funding term. Biden wants to focus on the numerator, denominator, the top line cost for each program, regardless of how long it endures or how long they last. Shorter term durations mean more programs can be started, but a lot of people are saying that these programs end up being funded forever. They keep going, they keep getting renewed, and Manchin knows that. A White House official said, quote, the president and Senator Manchin's deal with each other in good faith, and their calls have been constructive and friendly. As he negotiates over the size and scope of Biden's social spending bill, Manchin insists he's not trying to bend his party to meet his priorities. I'm not so sure about that. It seems like everybody else is on board except for Joe Manchin. So I mean, if the party's not bending to meet his vote, what are they doing? That's exactly what everybody's having to bend to meet Joe Manchin, right? He's the only one not on board. Joe Manchin says he simply wants to be clear about his own position. Yeah, well, you're the only vote not on board. He says, quote, I don't think I am asking anyone to move. He says, in a walking interview, waiting his SUV. I want people to understand where I am. Asking if Biden is moving closer to him on the spending package, Manchin says, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, so Joe Manchin is the key here. Now the Senate parliamentarian is still working through a lot of the things here. Honestly, now that I've kind of gotten a lot more information on the Senate parliamentarian, she's still working through a lot of issues right now. So honestly, they're not ready to vote right here today. So if Joe Manchin said yes today, they wouldn't be ready to vote. So they could be ready to vote soon, but we'll have to see if they're ready to vote here by Christmas. We'll see here. It's going to be close. It's going to be real close here. Also, I'll keep you up to date here with the What's in the Box contest. We are going to be starting here this week, so make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be giving away a total of $2,000 in total here. So don't miss any videos at this point. I will keep you up to date. Also, I'm here with my special guest, Lily. This is not Leo, but this is our special guest, Lily. Say hi. Lily, look up here. I know, getting you to look is hard, huh? But this is Lily. Leo's in the hospital. But yeah, Leo's 15 years old, and he's currently in the hospital. I know you don't like to sit still like this. Okay, she jumped down. Leo's in the hospital. He's been in there for a day now, and they want to keep him in there for 3 days. Our other kitty, Leo. Um, yeah, he's 15 years old. I've had him for a long time. He's having kidney problems. He also, we took him in there originally for kidney problems, and then we think he caught a cold while in there, even though he didn't see any other cats or anything. We think he caught a cold while in there because now he's kind of has cold symptoms. But he wasn't eating or drinking beforehand. So we've literally had hundreds of comments from you guys about Leo after I mentioned it. Thank you so much for your thoughts and prayers about Leo. Um, but yeah, he's still in the hospital. He's been there for a day, and they want to keep him for 3 days. But we're really worried about him because he wasn't eating or drinking before he left, and he's 15 years old, and we're really worried about him because he wasn't doing well at all. So I'll let you guys know because I seen so many comments from you guys. But as you guys know, if you have pets, dogs or cats or birds or anything like that, you know that they're a part of your family. And I'm 40 years old. I've had Leo since I was 25, so he's definitely a huge part of my family. He's literally part of my family. So he's a part of me. So thank you so much for your thoughts and prayers. Yeah, I love you guys too. You guys are part of my family as well. I spend more time with you guys than any of my friends actually. So I love you guys as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. You can click here to watch my newest video. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.